All right, guys, how are we? Hope you're having a great day. Just walking from Monastriaki to Plaka, so just along the back streets, and hopefully you see a little bit less graffiti, mind you. I just looked in the background and there's graffiti on the shutters. Anyway, so this is going to be a little bit more upmarket than the others. I'll maintain them and make sure that there's not as much graffiti. But yeah, just looking at the news headlines in Australia at the moment, there's a big backlash against Daniel Andrews, the Premier of Victoria, over his grab for power. You look at things like Fox News or whatever, and Sky News, and they're sort of basically saying that it's not just a grab for power, it's an abuse of power. In regards to people getting out, there's a lot of people who are basically saying, look, love to get out, would love to get to Greece, don't think that I can afford it. There is another option for you in regards to that, and that basically is a place like Georgia. Georgia has a 12-month visa. Gives you a bit of time just to get to Europe, get established, settle down. I don't think the living expenses over there are that high, and I think it's got quite good banking opportunities over there, so it's easy enough to organise your finances. But Greece, it could be a little bit difficult once you're over here, but you may be able to extend your visa once you're already here. I mean, if you're really desperate and you don't want to go back to Australia, you could possibly, I don't know, I'm not recommending this, but you could claim asylum. And the reason why I say that is I think there's a lot of concern within the international community in regards to what's happening in Australia, and but it just means that if you do claim asylum, you're probably not going to be able to ever go back to Australia. So that's just it's going to be a permanent change in lifestyle for you, and you may not like it once you get here. So I'll just give you a bit of a look. This is so over there you can see the Roman Four Winds bath, and this is all the ruins from the Roman era. Yes, Greece was run and ruled by Rome for a period of time, just the same way that Greece was run and ruled by the Ottoman Empire for about 400 years. In the background there you can see the wall for the Acropolis. So we're just heading into Plaka. It's more of a historical area, and it's more of a place where there's tours and this sort of stuff, like you see over here. All these tourist groups are sort of going around having a look at the ruins. Anyway, so yeah, so claiming asylum, it's going to be a permanent change for you. So I would just sort of basically suggest maybe apply for a visa with Georgia, or if you've got a decent online income coming in, then just go with Greece or Croatia under the digital nomad visa. Just keep in mind that you'll need about 3,000 euros, roughly 3,000 euros coming in online every month, and then 20% for every dependent. So 20% on top of that for every dependent. So just keep that in mind. So there are maybe ways around that as well, so don't know. It's something that I probably wouldn't talk about on YouTube, but Yeah, so anyway, there's lots of different options available to you if you're keen on getting out. I hear that for vaccinated people, they can leave on the 1st of November. For unvaccinated people, there's a requirement to apply for your exemption, and I would encourage you to start that. While I'm at it, someone said I looked like I was 65. Thanks. You're flattering me. So at the end of the day, look, good time to apply for your exemption to leave. Lots of opportunity over here. Just depends on what visa you're going for. If you do go for a golden visa with Greece, which is the cheapest golden visa in the EU, but it gives you access to the entire Schengen zone, which is, I think it's 27 countries in the Schengen zone EU. So it's actually quite a powerful little permanent residency visa to have, but it comes with a 250,000 euro investment in property. So that is a good option, but it just means you don't have market access. So you'll have to look at developing your online business, and certainly something that you can do, but you just might need 6-12 months to sort of develop that before you start getting real momentum. And that's why I sort of say, if you're really just in these beginning stages of getting going, then something like Georgia would be good, because it's going to take that stress of having to get permanent residency in a different location out of the road, because you don't need to invest a massive amount of money to be in Europe or close to the EU. And it's going to give you 12 months to get going, right? And then from what I understand, it's just basically a border crossing at the end of that 12-month period. Go shopping in a neighbouring country for the day and then come back and get you another 12-month visa. So it's a good option from what I understand. But it just gives you a bit of time to get things going, give you a bit of an understanding of what it's going to be like to live in Europe, and may give you a bit of time just to travel to other European countries and just see what's going to suit to you better. You might like Georgia, or you might like somewhere like Belarus, Montenegro, or you might say, this is not for me, I'm going to head off to South America. So, which I've already done videos on. I have concerns about South America, particularly around their political stability, the stability of the financial systems, opportunistic crime. There's a lot of concerns I have about it. So yeah, I would just hazard against that. But anyway, if you already have friends that are over there, a little bit of a community that's over there, and you're going to feel happier there, then do it by all means. So you've got to do what's right for you. Certainly not trying to sell you anything in regards to lifestyle. So I'm making no promises. You might get to Greece and just think it's not. No way in the world will you be happy or interested in being here. As I said, lots of different places around Greece to visit, and you might find some of the quieter places on the mainland are better for you, or you might like somewhere in the Greek islands. So just keep in mind that your expenses go up once you hit the islands, and particularly for rent and food, and there's a little bit of a premium on that because they're shipping stuff to the island on the barges. So be prepared, but it may not be that much more expensive for you. Just keep that in mind. Yeah, so what's happening in Greece at the moment in regards to vaccine mandates and and the sort. So basically the situation is at the moment, from what I understand, people who operate pharmacies or doctors, lawyers, need to be vaccinated. Though a lot of them don't actually want to be vaccinated. And from what I've heard, there's a fear amongst the women that it's going to make them sterile, so they're not really taking the vaccine. So also, if you want to go to a restaurant, you need to be vaccinated to dine in the restaurant. But in Greece, most people don't actually eat inside the restaurant, they always eat outside, so it doesn't really make any difference. So there's little things like that, but for me, it hasn't affected me at all. I've got I've had no issues at all. So even this morning, though, I did see a protest on the street just behind me here. So this is this here is a supermarket. Now, it's not like supermarkets you get in Australia or the US. You have these massive shopping malls with these huge supermarkets and things are all in one place. That's kind of like a little corner store, and they're everywhere. So I shop at a bazaar, however you want to say it, store just at the corner of where we live. And I actually quite like it. They're all locally owned by families and that sort of stuff, and so it's actually pretty good, as opposed to having these massive bloody supermarkets where everything's owned by one big conglomerate, or everything's sort of put together under the ownership of one or two big corporations, and I don't think that's healthy. But anyway, here it's like living in Australia in the 80s. You have little corner stores and boutique shops that basically have specialty areas. Like if you go to a hardware store, it's a little hardware store. It's not a big multinational hardware department store which basically sells everything. So in that aspect, it's really good. I mean, even my tools, I go to a specialist tool shop here to buy my tools, not my hardware, but my tools. So in regards to the way that the retail sector works here, everything is separated. So you don't have all this stuff being run or controlled by big international magnates. It's just little corner stores run by families, which is great. Like the hardware store that I go to, it's in Monastiraki in Athena Street. That has been in that family for 4 generations. 4 generations. So the father who owns it at the moment is about to retire. His son is going to take over, and yeah, it's a multi-generation, shop. I mean, I think that's wonderful in a lot of ways, because it just is what it is, isn't it? Right? So you're basically supporting an entire family, and that's their profession. That's what they do. If you look down here, now you'll see these white things here, and basically what they're going to do is they're going to build something on top of here, and they're going to build on top of these ruins. Rather than destroy the ruins, they'll basically build on top of it and try and preserve it. And yeah, I mean, that's how things are here. So a lot of stuff is really old and very interesting. Even in regards to the big pillars that I filmed before, If you look at the decoration on top of the pillars, it basically tells you, well, when that building was built. It gives you a rough estimation of what time period they were in, based on the little frilly leaves or whatever it is that they display on top. You know, the shape of them and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, not that I want to bore you with it, but yeah, so that's how things are here, and I love it. I mean, I really do. It's great. So it's different to Australia, which is a relatively new country. It's like the US. It's a new country. It's not old, and but this stuff is ancient. This stuff has been here, you know, 1,000 years or so before Christ. So it goes back in time, and as I said, it's been ruled and run by various different powers. Like it was run by the Romans and by the Ottomans. I think it was 400 years. So yesterday we had Ochi Day, which basically means no, and so it's basically commemorating when the Italian fascists said, you can either surrender or we're going to go to war with you tomorrow. Give us your answer. And the Greeks turned around and said, no, we'll go to war. And they beat them. So I think what you'll see embedded in the Greek psyche is a fear of being overrun, losing their sovereignty, and letting some sort of foreign power dictate to them. And in one aspect, I think that's fantastic. I think it's great because it means, you know, they have a sense of integrity for their own sort of culture and their own rights. I don't think what's happening, particularly in Australia, would ever happen here. And the reason why is because of that. There is an absolute fear of being overrun and a fear of losing their sovereignty. So I just can't see that happening. But anyway, as I said, go to overseas-exile.com and sign up. And Facebook group is Overseas Exiles, group, Overseas Exiles group, and you can sign up there, become part of the team. If you go to the banner for the channel, you'll see a link to the Facebook group. So join there. In the next couple of days, we'll have the forum up and running, so you can join that. As I said, that forum is basically run by us. I built the servers myself and configured them all, and so it's all on our own servers. So there's no sort of big data behind it. So yeah, a lot of people feel concerned about that, but don't. It's run by us. So, all right, guys.